Well, we finally made it through teams 21 through 30. Feels like it's been a few months and there's been some delays, but nonetheless we're here, right? And there were actually some good teams in this group. I think the fact that there was also a couple of really bad ones made this one of my easiest rankings to do, but I also played a ton of games with a few of these squads because they made up some of my favorite teams to date, so let's go ahead and get into it. At number 10, this was super duper easy. The 90 Cavs are my least favorite team because I couldn't even think of a good reason that they were in the game. I've literally never ran into the Mark Price led Cavaliers in any 2K game, and now I know why. And according to one of the comments on that video, which was the last one that I posted, and I think this is accurate, this is one of the teams that got left over from the days of the Jordan Challenge back in like 2K11, so I kind of feel like they have been in the game ever since then, and I've never used them until now, and nobody I've ever known or played against has ever used his team, so they're totally pointless without that Jordan Challenge. Without the challenge, it kind of just seems like one of those teams that 2K had a player they wanted to make sure was in the game, so they said to hell with it. Why not throw his entire team in there with them as well? Playing with this team reminded me of the problems I had with the bad boy Pistons as far as scoring. Of course, the difference being that you could eat with Isaiah Thomas, so even that team was easier to play with than this one. Their lack of a go-to scorer that could create his own shot, lack of athleticism, and the fact that they were trying to start Steve Kerr on the wing just totally threw me off. I didn't have to think much about this pick, they definitely get my 10th spot. At number 9, I'm rolling with the 71 Hawks. All the same as the Cavaliers, this was also kind of by default because they were missing half their roster. They got the edge over Cleveland because I did have a hell of a time playing with Pistol Pete, and the fact that I was able to carry a team of generics to a win over the Classic Thunder said a lot about his ability. Also, it does help that Lou Hudson is pretty much an all-star player as well. If you're gonna have a team on this game missing so many players, it kind of helps for the two guys that are real to be all-star level. And on top of that, Maravich is a showman. If you see the opportunity to pull out a flashy pass with him, then make sure you do it because he can be a lot of fun. Moving on to number 8, we're gonna say the 04 Wolves go here. I played with this team so long ago that I can hardly remember what I was running, but I have played a ton of games with the 08 Celtics and the difference in Garnett is noticeable. It's funny because he was definitely still a superstar in 2008 as he won Defensive Player of the Year, but this one on the Wolves is just a whole lot quicker and his ability to take people off the dribble is superior. They also caught me off guard because for the longest I was just straight up avoiding this team, and when I finally did run with them, I learned that Sprewell and Cassell were very worthy running mates for Kevin Garnett. That being said, their relatively low ranking on this list came from the fact that I could imagine a ton of bad matchups online for them, and honestly there's just teams in front of them that I loved way more. Speaking of which, we move on to number 7 where I'm gonna place the We Believe Warriors. When they were announced as a bonus team, I thought I would like them a lot more than I did, but they were still fun to run with. I played multiple games with them in the same day and really enjoyed Baron Davis because having all that scoring at your point guard position is just useful as hell. When the guy bringing the ball up the floor can shoot from everywhere on the court and he can get inside as well as a regular size shooting guard, it gives the defense a lot of issues. It hurts them even more when 3 of the 4 players playing off the ball can shoot the threes, so offense really isn't an issue here. Now, what is an issue is that this team has no option to go big. Adonal Foyle is the only center, so if you run into a situation like I did where you're playing great bigs like Duncan and Robinson in the same game, then you've just got to run a zone defense and hope for the best. And yeah, they're just not a great defensive team in general, so that's how they ended up at 7 for me. At number 6, you may be surprised to see the 08 Nuggets. I'm guessing some of you thought they'd go a bit higher and definitely be in the top 5, but you'll know why in a moment. As for what split the difference and ended up pushing them out of the top 5, I guess it was just learning the hard way that Iverson wasn't the knockdown 3-point shooter that I wanted him to be. After a while, I got the memo that you should really be driving and pulling up from mid-range because that's where most of his damage comes from. If you master that, then between J.R. Smith's ridiculous 3-point shooting and Carmelo's incredible ISO game, you've really got a squad here. And I think aside from the 12 Thunder, this might be the team I've seen the most online. It's a good mix because with your perimeter scorers, you've also got a formidable front line in Martin, Camby, and Nene, so it's not like a lot of teams that just have small agile scorers and no big man, aka the 07 Warriors. I feel like I haven't played enough with Carmelo Anthony this year, so after my Costa Rica trip, I'll probably take some time off to perfect my ISO game with him and turn him into Hoodie Melo. At number 5, you won't believe I somehow ranked the 2008 Hornets over the Nuggets. The thing is, I'm not necessarily ranking teams by talent here, I'm ranking them in the order that I liked them. This is more just reflective of how much fun I had playing with Chris Paul and the fact that I was able to use him to nearly take down the 16 Warriors twice, and that says a lot. Of course, they suffer from the same generic player problem a lot of these teams suffer from, but between Paul, Stojakovic, and David West, you can do enough with this team to make them a challenge to beat. Paul is also just my second favorite point guard in 2K to use aside from D Rose. You've heard plenty about the association that I ran in 2K16 that had CP3 on the 07 Cavs, and through those 2 seasons I played, I really perfected playing with him, so it was less challenging for me to try to carry a team with him here. At number 4, the 08 Rockets are a team I'm surprised I don't see way more of online. T-Mac is one of the most dynamic scorers in the game, and Yao has the tendency to be somewhat of a cheat code because of his size. Yet, I can probably count the number of times I ran into them on probably 2 hands. Anyways, they get an automatic top 5 spot on this list for having a prime T-Mac. That was the guy that got me into basketball, and it's just fun to live out what he and Yao could have been without all the injuries. The one thing I'll say as a tip is to make sure that either T-Mac or Yao are in the game at all times. My worst experience with this team came when the entire bench subbed in and I was stuck trying to create offense between Aaron Brooks and Steve Francis. They have some ability, but it's almost useless if you don't have one of those stars taking attention away from them. At 3, and this team probably would have gone number 1 on any other list, we're going 2011 Bulls. You just heard me say it in the bit about Chris Paul, but Derrick Rose really is my favorite point guard ever in any 2K game, especially in 18. His athleticism, even without a knockdown 3-point shot, makes him one of the hardest guards to defend in the game, exactly like his MVP season. He's super acrobatic and shifty in the lane, so you'll find yourself making incredible layups while most other players in the game can't even make one under the rim. On top of that, using his drive to penetrate and kick to open shooters in Korver and Deng really helped me eat. And then Noah is a damn bully on the board, so this team isn't really missing much. They were when the game first came out and they were missing Carlos Boozer, so I refused to even look at them, but with everyone there, I guarantee you're gonna have a good time using this team. And at number 2, my very own Boston Celtics from 2008. I did this video a really long time ago, but only recently have I been using them even more, and I think they've become my second or third most used team in the game. I finally mastered running the offense with Rondo, I've mastered how to organize scoring between Pierce and Allen, and I've mastered the different lineups you're supposed to use against different teams. For instance, I ran into the 16 Warriors a lot, and you don't want Leon Powe on the floor that much during those games. Instead, you put KG at center, let Posey run the 4, and suddenly you've got the upper hand because Bogut can't do jack shit with Kevin Garnett. Also, I learned how to get the rebound and immediately push the tempo with Rondo. You wouldn't believe how I've been able to cut teams up with just passing the ball in transition, and so far I've been able to transform Rondo from a liability into maybe the most important player on the team. KG is also elite at setting screens, and I've been making good use of the Horns flare play between Paul Pierce and Ray Allen, where the defense simply has zero good options. All I need now is for 2K19 to add Kendrick Perkins back to the game, that way their interior defense will get a boost and they'll really be unstoppable then. And finally, how could I not put the 2013 Heat at number 1? If you watched that episode I did with them, you know I put together some ridiculous win streak with them, and I'm actually going to go back to them soon and see how many wins I can run up. I believe I won 22 straight the first time, and I've gotten much better since then, so I'm not entirely convinced that I couldn't double that streak at some point. Between LeBron, Wade, Bosh, and all the shooting and defense surrounding them, there's just no good options in defending this team. They've got so many different playstyles that it'd make your head spin, and I'll still say that the only team better than them would be today's Warriors. The 87 Lakers definitely have a case, and the 04 Lakers challenged them as well, but there isn't much that can top an offense ran by LeBron James with 2 stars and shooters everywhere around him. They were the go-to team for everybody to cheese with in 2K13, and it's still that way today, so if you need to pad your win record, this is a quick way to do it. And that's what I got for you guys today. That's how my rankings pan out for the last 10 teams, and the next 10 are gonna come much quicker, so stay tuned. Hit the like button, comment, and sub if you enjoyed, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications on future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys with the next team.